Let's see. We have a total of 9 of these, so that makes us 3 squared, and then we have 16 squared. Okay. One sec. Move things around. So this was the number of times we have, right? The number of branches that we have. For the next one, we have 9 branches. For each of those 3, we have 3 more branches. So we have 9 branches, where each of those is C n by 16 squared. Does everyone agree that this is the solution for the third level? 9 parts, where each of those parts is quarter of n by 4. Quarter of n by 4 is n by 16, and we have squared of that because the merged complexity is squared. Does this make sense? Yes, no, no is fine. I'm assuming a no. Cool. So this is n by 16 because every time we are dividing it into quarters, right? So this becomes n by 4 becomes n by 16, and we have 9 of them. So 9 C n by 16 squared. That essentially becomes 3 by 16 squared because 9 is 3 squared. 3 by 16 squared Cn squared, right? For the next part, we have every time we are dividing into 3 again, so 27 times C of, so it's n squared because 3 by 16. Yep, you're right. So n by 4 times 16 again. So 4 times 16 gives us what? 4 times 16 gives us 64 squared. That can also be written as n squared Cn squared times 3 cubed, because 3 times 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27, divided by same, right? 4 cubed, my bad. Wait, I missed something up. What did I miss? Give me one sec. 16 and by 16 becomes squared of that. So that gives me oh, 3. Can someone tell me what am I missing here? Why is it should be 16 cubed? What am I missing here? What did I do wrong while I look into it? Right. It is 64 squared. Oh my. Okay. So this is my bad. So this is 64 squared. 64 squared is essentially 64 times 64, that gives you 4096. 4096 is essentially 16 times 16 times 16, right? So 64 squared becomes 16 cubed, right? Okay, so if we have this, then the next level basically becomes 3 cubed, 3 by 16 cubed. Does that make sense? Because 16 cubed is going to be 64 squared. So essentially for every level, let's call the level I, we have Cn squared times 3 by 16 raised to the power of I. Now this is essentially a arithmetic summation, right? We have to sum up for all I. We have to sum for all values of I to get this. And now our I is basically log base 4 of 3, log base 4 of n, right? And so in that particular case, we just have this particular summation of I here, which we can take out of this summation equation. So Cn squared times 1 plus 3 by 16 squared plus 1 plus 3 by 16 plus 3 by 16 squared plus 3 by 16 cubed and so on. So in this particular case, we know that this particular summation 1 plus 3 by 16 plus 3 by 16 squared and so on, does this tend to infinity or would this tend to a fixed point in terms of our arithmetic series that we discussed earlier? Fixed point or infinity?
I think it's a fixed point because
it's a fixed,
getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Exactly. So it is going to be some fixed point close to 2 or 3 or whatever. So we can just also brush that in under the carpet for C. So essentially this becomes some constant, let's call it capital C, times n squared. So that is why we have this time complexity. Although we have a height of log 4 of n, we have the time complexity of n squared. Make sense? Okay. So we just looked at the time complexity for 3t n by 4. We said that that is going to be theta n squared. We already talked about the unbalanced merge sort. Again, that ended up being a theta of n log n because every time we have C of n. And since this was C of n, we are not multiplying by a constant that is decreasing every time. We are multiplying by a same constant. And that basically becomes the height of the tree times the number of the merge complexity for each level. Similar to that, we also can do for 3t n by 3 plus n, where every time we are dividing our array into 3 parts and then merging it into n. So every level we have a time complexity of n. So first we have n, then we have n third plus n third plus n third. That also becomes n. So every level we have n. So again we have n log n, right? Now then we also looked at 3t n by 4 plus of n. Every level we have n, but we did not look into that. But for the same reasoning that we had for n squared, for the same reasoning we have a multiplicative factor that is reducing every time, because again it is going to be 1 plus 3 by 4 plus 3 by 4 squared plus 3 by 4 cubed and so on, right? So every time we have a reducing complexity and times that particular complexity of merging, that is n, and that ends up being theta of n. So that was in a sense, how we can solve our recurrence relations in terms of recursion trees. But you can imagine that this is a sort of involved process. This is the most easiest process to figure out the solution. And it is also applicable to most problems that we see out there, because we are just adding up the number of merging complexities that we have, and it is equally applicable to all of them. In that sense, it is easy, plus it is applicable to all our recurrence relations. Now, the next thing that we are going to talk about after recursion tree is going to be master method. And after we do master method, we'll talk about substitution method. So master method is the easiest of the three, but it is only applicable to a limited set of cases. It does not apply to all possible cases, right? So in master method, this particular method only applies to cases where we have a recurrence relation like this, where we have T of n equals to a by T n by b plus of f of n. And I'll explain this, but notice one important thing. In the recursion tree method or the iteration method that we also looked at earlier, so this was the iteration method, right? So the recursion tree method was we were dividing it into parts and we used a tree. But whenever we had something that was not dividing it into components, but essentially reducing the size of your problem by a fixed amount every time. So -1, -2 or whatever. In that case, we use the iteration method to figure out what the complexity was. Master method on the other hand, only works for cases where we have the time complexity of division into two components where both components are dependent upon n. So n by 2, n by 3 or whatever. You can even increase the size of your n. So 4n by 3 maybe, right? So in those particular cases, master method applies, and for the case, including for the cases where our merging complexity is always going to be positive. You can't have a negative complexity for merging. And in general, you can think of this as our merge time will always be some positive number greater than or equal to 0, right? It can never be negative because you can't take back time from your processing, right? So that is a given. So f is always going to be positive, but we'll also look into cases where f becomes negative and it does not apply there. And for cases where a and b are greater than 1, where the first multiplying factor is a and the divisive factor or the divising factor is b. Okay, so we basically use master method to quickly figure out the time complexity of a particular recurrence relation with respect to this particular function f of n. So this method basically has 3 possible cases. Now, first thing that we need to do is we need to compare f of n, and that could be anything, n squared, n cubed, n plus 1, whatever. And we need to compare it with this particular equation here, that is n raised to the power of log base b a, where b is the divising factor and a is the combining factor, right? So the 3 cases are, if we can say that f of n equals to big O of n log base b a minus some constant number epsilon, then case 1 applies. And if case 1 applies, we can say that t of n equals to theta of n log b a. We don't need to do any recursion trees. We don't need to care about anything else. We can directly say that time complexity is theta of n log base b a. The other one is if f of n equals to theta of n log base b a without any epsilon involved here. Remember that the first one had a minus epsilon. This one does not have any epsilon here. T of n then becomes n log base b a times log of n. Then the third one is f of n equals to omega of n log base b a plus of some epsilon, and given some condition, and it should not be, this is not striking out, this is underlined, this is not something, do consider this one as well, this is a type. So given this condition, and we'll look into this condition, then t of n becomes f of n, right? So the time complexity becomes f of n. Now notice one thing here for all of these 3 cases. We first say that f of n is big O of this particular equation minus this epsilon. And what does big O usually mean? Big O means the upper bound, right? So minus epsilon means we are trying to say that given this minus some particular constant, we can sort of upper bound the equation of f of n. Theta of, when we say f of n equals to theta of n log base b a, we are saying that without any epsilon, it is still going to be within that average case bound. And when we are adding an epsilon to it, we are adding basically big omega of n log base b a plus of epsilon, because we say that it is higher than particular omega condition. So that is a way of remembering these 3 cases. Case 1 would always subtract an epsilon from the power. Case 2 does not subtract or add anything. Case 3 always adds an epsilon to the power. And that is why we